more medals. But what we are seeing, will you say the National Sports Authority and the Sports Ministry is doing enough, or there's more work to be done in regards to preparation towards the All African Games?
Are they doing something at all? I don't know. I honestly don't know what they are doing, and if they are doing anything, it's not being communicated well enough. To host a tournament is not just about those who are participating. If a country is hosting a tournament, it has to be a national affair. So the communication to be able to rally the entire country around is as critical as those who are actually participating, in terms of the athletes, in terms of the officials, in terms of the technical people. So as at now, I'm not seeing much, I'm not hearing much. So I think they should up their communication so that we can rally the entire Ghanaian population. So it is when people know and understand what is going on that they can contribute meaningfully. But so far, I'm not seeing much. Occasionally you hear snaps here and there, we're going to host, we're going to spend so much, but we haven't seen a rallying of the country, and I think they should do more, even as the other aspects too are being looked at.
Now let's come to the Black Stars. Earlier this year, you said Ghana is going to qualify. I didn't know what you saw then, and thankfully we qualified. Now going to the World Cup, what do you think our chances are, considering the fact that we play against South Korea, Uruguay, and Portugal in the group stages?
Our chances are as good as our preparation. There's no magic in this thing. Your preparation determines your output. Thankfully, we have a new crop of players who appear to be hungrier, they are younger, they are stronger, they are more dedicated than the crop that took us to the 2014 World Cup. So with that, there's a lot of hope. What the states and the technical team has to do is to put in place a program where they will prepare very well. Because if you recall, in 2014, what happened? The players decided to boycott training. If you boycott training, you cannot perform. It's as simple as that. So the quantum, the time and effort that goes into training matches, preparatory matches, etc., and then the discipline in the camp, where there will be a system where the players cannot just go out in the night, go and chill and all that. The camp rules and regulations, there are no distractions, in camp and all that. These are things that if they are put in place and done properly, the sky is the limit. We've done it before. Look, 2014, the reason why I had a lot of hope in the team was because I knew what they were capable, they could do. But it looks like they themselves didn't know. Because when they played with Germany, it was 2-2. And that match was determined by the FIFA technical team, made up of all the coaches in the world, as the best match of the tournament. So that should tell you that there was huge potential. But of course, in discipline and looking for money, and other external factors led to this. So I think if they focus and if they have a good camp, okay, the camp is critical. The atmosphere in the camp, the discipline, the focus, the sky will be their limit.
Okay, so I'm talking about preparation. Now we have Ghanaian players who are not born in Ghana, who were not born in Ghana. They are coming in. Considering the time, we have barely 4 months to the World Cup. Do you think those players can adjust in terms of culture, even their integration to the team? And do you think it can help the team?
It's up to the coach. First of all, a professional player has a certain level of skill and competence. So every professional player, if you are recruited into a team within a few weeks, and that is why the training, the camp, and the preparation is important. So it is the coach that looks at the team that he has, looks at the deficiencies, and then when you're bringing in new players, you know where they'll fit in. And then the kind of practice regime, training regime, and strategy that you put in place will get them to integrate. So for me, that is not too much of an issue. It is the process and the methodology by which they are integrated into the team that is more important, and that is in the hands of the coach and the technical handlers. And I believe if they do the right thing, we'll get the results.
Okay, so in 2014 we went to the World Cup with the black coach or local coach in the person of Afriyie-Ankrah, and this year we're going with a local coach in the person of Otuado. Is it the right thing, and can he deliver?
I believe so. If you look at his performance so far, he gives me a lot of confidence. It's not about black or white or whatever. It's about capacity and it's about attitude. You understand me? I think that Coach Appiah was good, but he also had his weaknesses. And I from the beginning, I kept on saying that he needed to be a little more stronger And so far, I think Otuado has done well. We need to give him all the support that he deserves. And let's just encourage them, and let's ensure that what government has to do, they do. What the technical team has to do, they do. What the FA has to do, they do. The players also must be focused. It's important. I mean, it's a huge opportunity. You're going to stand before the whole world. Billions of people will be watching you. For some of them, after this World Cup, if they perform well, that will be the next level of their career. They will be seen. They'll earn a lot of. They shouldn't focus on appearance fees and they want money now, today, tomorrow. That exposure, you cannot quantify it in monetary terms. And I think that should be their focus. It's a privilege and an honor to wear the national colors and play for your country. It's a privilege. So that is how they should see it. And if they do that and they are ready to die a little for the country, I believe that everything is possible.
Now to the responsibility, you've been there before. That means it's very slippery. If I give you the opportunity to give one advice to the current minister, Mustafa Yusuf, especially going to this World Cup, what would that advice be?
You should forget about the supporters. For me, if you ask me, one, if you call it a mistake that I made, was the fact that at that time, the government said they didn't have money for supporters. And I said, if you're playing football without supporters, first World Cup, President Kufuor took supporters, second World Cup, President Mills took supporters. So this one, President Mahama, we have to take supporters. He said, we don't have money. I said, okay, would you allow me to raise money from corporate sector for supporters? And I think that was my mistake. Because in doing that, not knowing, people had a lot of business interest, and I became a target of so many things. So he should just focus on the sports. Those who have money, if they can buy ticket and go, they should go. But the rest will watch it on TV. It's as simple as that.
Okay, now let's come to our local league. I don't know which team you support, but I guess you support Accra House of Folk because you are in Accra. I guess so.
It will interest you. My father was one of the few people who played for Asante Kotoko when he was a student of pharmacy at KNUST. That was in the. Your grandfather was not even born. Long time ago.
Yes, and I was
so my father is a Kotoko person. My cousins are all, in fact, some of them have been in Kotoko management. So if, let's say from home, we are all Kotoko. But when I came to Accra, all the people I was hanging out with, they were all Has people. So,
so then let's talk about protocol. They are preparing for a tour in Turkey ahead of the CAF Champions League and also the Ghana Premier League. I don't know what message you have for the team protocol.
Oh, I wish them well. I mean, for me, the important thing is that Ghanaian teams excel and move beyond the local to the international level. Like Haas, Kotoko. But I'm very, very serious about we having a third force. We must break this Haas, Kotoko jinx, because what happens is that if the two teams underperform, it means the standards go down. If there's always a third, fourth, fifth team, it puts them under pressure, because complacency happens when people think that they have arrived. So for me, in future, if I'm going to get into football, I'll look for a third force and build them up. So Haas, Kotoko, they must all focus and move. I mean, in those days, they were playing internationally and doing very well. So I wish them all the best.
That brings to my next question. So from 2014, when you were the minister, up to now, have you seen any improvement in our local game?
It's topsy-turvy, Occasionally you see some bright spots, you see some players who come, and then after a while you have all issues about bad refereeing and match fixing and all that. So it's when you have consistent growth over a period, 5, 7, 10 years, and again, it will manifest in international competitions. Let's go back to the days when Haas Kotoko were playing at the African level. That's the way we can judge. And then, of course, having more professionalism, having more sponsorship, so that we can having more of the clubs having their own facilities. Those are the things that you look at and say the sport is growing. But I don't think we've gotten there yet.
Okay, so that's my next question. Ghanaians are calling
Last question,
a section. I've been wanting this opportunity for quite a long time, and I think this is the opportunity to ask every question. Maybe I want to see you again.
I'm not going to die.
No, definitely. You have about 100 years to live.
Amen.
So, to my next question, Ghanaians, a section of Ghanaians are calling for inclusion of local players into the Black Stars. You've been minister before. You're a Ghanaian. You follow football for quite a long time. Do you think this is the time we should add local boys or players to the Black Stars?
Definitely, if you are building a national team, it has to be a blend of both local and international players. It should not just be maybe a fetish. It must be based on performance and ability. And then we have an objective. We want to go and make an impact at the international level. So if there are local players who have shown that capacity, why not? At the same time, too, if we have international players, assuming we had Ronaldo was a Ghanaian or Messi was a Ghanaian, would you say you don't want him on your national team? Every country will look for their best. At the same time, there may be local players. So I think that it all depends on, there has to be a strategy where even as we are getting the foreign players to come in, locally we must find a way of identifying talents and have them as a backup so that just in case for any reason something happens, you know that you have we must have, Ghana abounds in so much football talent. So there's nothing wrong if we have 1, 2, 3 tiers of potential teams. Okay, so team 1 is our most best team, but team 2 can equally, stand in for them, and so can even team 3. And when you do that, then you can bring in more of the local players. You also give them the exposure, and then it goes on.
Okay, so my very final